and welcome to this week's episodes of The Language Lady. I'm your host, Dr. Hemphill, and as per the title, today we're going to be talking about paragraph frames and how they can be utilized for your language learners in your classroom. Last week we talked about sentence frames, and I promised you that I would do a video on paragraph frames. So paragraph frames is just taking sentence frames to the next level. With paragraph frames, your ELLs will be producing paragraphs that can fit a variety of contexts and subject areas. Think of a paragraph frame as the nuts and bolts of a paragraph. You know, when you're thinking about how to start a sentence, what are some transition words you would use, and so forth. All of that is provided for your ELLs, and then they just add in their knowledge on a specific topic. So I'll be showing you examples of those. One caveat before I go into showing you examples of different paragraph frames is that I highly recommend that you model for your students an example of you completing a paragraph frame for them. And when you do it, talk out loud. Don't just write everything out, but actually go through the thought process as to why you chose to fill the gaps within the frame the way you did, and also really show them why you use those specific ideas and so forth. If you need examples of how to properly model a lesson while you're thinking out loud for your students, I will post some example model videos. They're not of mine, but of other teachers. So without further ado, here are some examples of paragraph frames. So the first paragraph frame I'm showing you here is called a character trait paragraph frame. And this would be appropriate for a student who has just read a story and they're asked to describe the characters within the story. So obviously you would have taught an in-depth lesson on how to describe characters, and then this is also a great tool to enable your ELLs to be able to succinctly summarize the most important parts of the story. Here are a series of various paragraphs. The first one is a compare and contrast text. Then we have sequence, cause and effect, descriptive text, all under the Common Core standards. These are types of verbiage that students should be familiar with. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, where's the originality in these frames if we're giving the words to the students? Remember, when you are learning a language for the first time, you need scaffolds, and these are perfect scaffolding that teaches students the type of language that is appropriate for a certain context. Once they fill in this frame and then copy it over the entire frame in their own writing, they're going and they start reading it out loud over and over again. It becomes part of their language. They've seen the model of it, they're applying that model, and then they're repeating over and over again. So it becomes part of their everyday language, and you will see them slowly but surely implementing this type of vocabulary and sentence structure in other future examples. Here's a great frame paragraph that helps ELLs with transition words and how to incorporate that in different subject areas. Here is a great frame paragraph as a ticket to go for math, so students learn how to explain their thinking. Here's a great frame paragraph that introduces ELLs to the various parts of a paragraph, your introduction, the body of the paragraph, and the conclusion. This frame paragraph is appropriate for your emerging writers. It doesn't matter what level they are in terms of grades, because you're focusing on the skill and then you are moving up in progression in terms of what is more difficult. And finally, here's an example of a paragraph frame that you can use as a ticket to go to kind of get a feel for what they learned, and is a great way to wrap up a lesson and figure out what needs to be retaught if there are certain skills that have not been mastered. So hopefully you can use these examples and you've thought of ways that you can incorporate this in your classroom. I also hope that you have thought of ways that you can adapt them for the specific needs, whether it's for different age groups or the different needs within your classroom. If you have thought of different ways of adapting this strategy, please share them below. I think that we could all benefit from the different takes on this wonderful strategy for our students. Thanks so much, and tune in next week. And oh, I forgot. I want to give a shout out to an ELL methods and research class out at Cheyney University. My dear friend is the professor of that class. Her name is Mrs. Jacqueline Rocco. And I just want to give a shout out to that class. I know that they've been faithfully watching the videos. And I asked them, this class, as well as all of you who are watching this video, to please comment below what topics you would like to see in a future video. Until next time, see you soon. Bye-bye.